Hey guys, welcome back. It's Tom Stricken, and today's discussion is going to be about engine oil and what do the numbers on the bottles actually mean. This comes from a question from somebody who has a vehicle that has a 530 requirement, or it's stamped on the oil cap 530. And the question was, if I have 530, or it's recommended to use 530, can I use, for example, 030? Or can I use 520? Or can I use 1030? Or can I use 020? What do these numbers actually mean? Well, what they really mean is 5W, or 10W, or 0W, or I believe there's also 20W. What does the W mean? What does this first group of numbers means? Well, it stands for winter. It doesn't actually stand for weight. It stands for winter. The W is for winter. And W, or 5W, is how this oil will act when it's cold in the winter time. The secondary number is how it will act when it's around 200 degrees, operating temperatures. So what is the 5 and 10 and 0? What's the difference? Well, it's actually the viscosity of the oil. For example, we have 030 and 530. Well, what's the difference? This is going to be a very thin oil due to the 0 when it's cold in the winter, but they will act the same, the number 30, when it's already 200 degrees. Oil today is very advanced. It has different chemical properties added to them called additives that allow the oil to thicken or to thin out depending on the temperature. So when it's January and it's negative 20 degrees outside, or it's just freezing, this oil will have a 5-weight property, which is a decent thickness, but it's still sheer enough and thin enough to make its route throughout the engine. And then once the engine reaches about 200 degrees, it will act as a 30-weight. Heavier oil coats better and protects better. So you want a nice thin oil in the winter time. Now, here's 020 and 030. What is the difference? Clearly, they're going to act the same when it's cold out, the 0W, but this one will remain thinner at operating temperatures because the number is smaller. It's a 20 weight. This is a 30 weight when operating temperatures around 200 degrees. So which one is better? Well, honestly, they're almost identical. This one will be a little bit thinner, so if you have a turbo motor or if you got a motor with very tight bearings and clearances like a Volkswagen or an Audi, you're going to want a thinner oil to make it through those very thin passages. 20 is still a good bet. Honestly, you could use either of these two in any car that allows for this style of weight and nothing bad is going to happen. It might give you a little bit more chatter because the oil is a little bit thinner, but in general, if there's no chatter, if you don't see anything wrong, either of these two are going to be fine. Now, it is winter time, and I have my Nissan Rogue, and I'm about to do an oil change, and my car calls for a 530 oil, but I'm going to use half of it, half of the allotted quarts of 0W30. So what am I actually doing? Well, I'm going to be dividing the 5 in half. So I'm going to have a very thin oil, but it's not going to be so thin that it's going to be a full oil pan full of 0W. Because this stuff gets expensive. This is full synthetic oil, while this is just conventional oil. So if you want to save some money, but definitely reduce the viscosity of the cold oil, you can just do half and half. That's fine too. They will mix together fine. You can mix conventional and synthetic. Nothing bad's going to happen. There's no clotting or burning of either oil. So again, just to reiterate, the first number is the winter number. It's how this oil acts when it's very cold. The secondary number is how this oil acts around 200 degrees. So if your car calls for 530 and it's wintertime, you can switch to this and actually do your engine some good, because it's going to be nice and thin very early in the morning, and then 10 minutes, 15 minutes down the road, when the engine is around operating temperatures, this oil will be acting exactly the way the manufacturer suggested it to act, which is a 30 weight. Thanks, guys. If you have any comments or questions, place them below, and I'll try my best to answer them on time. I have quite a bit of videos, as you can imagine, and I manage 2 different forums, so things do kind of get a little complicated at times with work. So if I don't get around to it, don't get too offended. I do my best. Thanks, guys. It's Tom Stricken, and I'm out.